Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going through 3 things for you to consider before shooting your very own first wedding. Before we get onto it, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be bringing you more tips and content in order for you to be able to grow your wedding photography business and increase your skills as a photographer. Alright, let's get into it. So first thing to consider before you shoot your very first wedding is prior experience. Now, you don't need a lot of prior experience to shoot your very own first wedding, but you do at least need some. And if you are being considered to be a photographer for someone for their wedding, it would be really nice for them to be able to have a realistic view of where your skill levels are at and what kind of photos that they'll be receiving. And this is why it's important to have some photographs that you have taken of couples to be able to show the clients that are considering you. Even if they are friends who've asked you, it'd be really nice if you could show them some work so that they have some level of assurance that they're going to get some photos that will look okay. My suggestion is having at least 2 or 3 different couples that you have photographed. You don't need a whole album or anything, maybe like 3 to 5 hero shots from each session. That is just gonna blow people away. That's gonna showcase the best of what you can bring. It is plenty. Now, some things you can do to get some prior experience and build your portfolio is assist for other photographers. Assisting is a little bit different to second shooting. A lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but for me, an assistant is someone who's gonna help me out with logistics, help carry my gear and bags, help run errands, or help round people up for the day. They are simply there just to observe and experience while making the workload for me a little bit lighter for the day. Someone who is a second shooter is someone who I have hired to be there for the day to get photos that I would personally not be getting as a main photographer. This could be things like getting shots from obscure angles that would not necessarily be available to me, or it could be getting a different line of sight for the same scenario for a little bit of a different perspective. It could be getting candid shots of guests while they are mingling in between the main event while I'm occupied following the couple around. It could be of details of different venues, or it could simply be getting some shots of me behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, the second photographer is there as an official photographer to contribute to the body of work of the wedding that the couple are going to receive. You can probably ask around and send an email to a few of the photographers that you really admire and would really love to learn from, or just would love to just simply be able to get along to their job for the day. Or if you have some reasonable prior experience of shooting people in a lifestyle setting or candidly, or even just have some experience of portraiture, there are probably photographers who might consider having you as a second photographer for the day for a lower rate, simply because they just need another body to be able to get a lot of the guest shots and detail shots of the day so that they don't have to be too worried about that while they are off getting photos with the couple. Another one is you can ask your friends if you can photograph them. This is the most easy way of building a portfolio. It's the best way to gain experience and grow, trial out different styles of shooting and editing. Now, most couples are more than willing to help out, and couples really want photos of themselves anyway, so this is already a good opportunity to ask someone who you know or a friend of a friend that you can approach to ask and just basically say, hey, I need to learn and build my portfolio. Would you guys be willing to model for me just so I can learn and try different things out? Another reason why this is great is because this is not an officially paid job. They are not expecting anything professional. They understand that you're there learning and trying different things out, so you can take your time, you can make mistakes, you can try different scenarios, you can try different angles, and even if you pause to look at the list of shots that you wanted to try, they're not gonna care. Definitely give this one a go and ask as many couples as you can. It's also just a great way for couples to post photos of your work as well on social media, which means that it's another chance for other people to pick up and see that you do photograph, and you might eventually get inquiries for a wedding work or more couple photography in the future. Another thing for prior experience is something that a lot of photographers don't normally consider when they're starting off, because it does cost a little bit of money, but I personally believe it is a great and worthwhile investment, and that is going along to a wedding workshop with a live shoot. Basically what this means is you get to attend a workshop that's been put on by professionals who are willing to share their knowledge and experience and help you grow as a photographer and help you develop your business. Bonus if they have a live shoot, which means they'll have hired models to come and model for you for the day, and they'll guide you through how to pose and how to set up different couples for different lighting situations and scenarios, and they'll give you a chance to take photos of your own for the day that you get to keep and show potential clients for the future. Now, this does cost a little bit, but in my mind it is well worth it because you are basically giving yourself a big boost of experience that you would have otherwise not being able to gain in such a short amount of time. And having this experience means you've already got a better footing in the industry, you've already got more experience than you could ever have, and you can present yourself as more professional because you have more knowledge under your belt, and also you've got some work to show of a couple that's dressed in their wedding gear as well, so other couples who are considering you will be able to see something that resembles wedding photography. My rationale is if I get to attend a workshop and I pay for it, and because of that I get to book at least one job, then that workshop has paid itself off because I've booked a job as a result of it. Last thing for prior experience is consider going along to a wedding ride along. Now, some photographers do this, some photographers don't, but photographers that offer mentoring are probably also willing to offer for you to come along and learn from them on the day of an actual wedding. I personally offer this in my mentoring program. Basically what this means is you get to come with me to a real life wedding that I'm shooting as a job, and you get to be beside me all day to learn from me, to observe how I interact, how I navigate a wedding job, and also to bring your own gear and take some photos. Now, you don't need to give me any of these photos. You can keep them for yourselves. You can learn how to edit, or you can add them to your portfolio to show any other future clients. It does cost not as much as a wedding workshop would, but because it is officially a mentoring program where you'll be able to experience firsthand what a real life wedding is like, and to be able to build your portfolio in a non-pressure environment, and you'll be able to learn a lot from me personally working with a couple and observing me and seeing how I navigate a wedding work myself. It is a really big boost of experience and knowledge, so hence why there is a price behind it. If you would like to consider it, I'll leave my details down below in the description and you can get in touch and we can chat through what's viable for you. Second thing to consider before shooting your very first wedding is your gear. Now, I know you think that you need a lot of gear to start off, and it may seem that way because a lot of professional people have a lot of good quality gear. But having said that, all you really need is a capable camera body and 2 really good lenses. Even if you got 1 really good lens and 1 okay lens, it would still do the job. The one thing that I would suggest is consider having backups. So if you're someone who just has a camera body and a couple of lenses, definitely consider hiring. For me, when I started off, I had 1 DSLR, a Canon 7D, which was a crop sensor, and a 50mm 1.4. Basically, that focal length was probably 75mm equivalent because of the crop sensor, and this still allowed me to shoot lifestyle, allowed me to shoot fashion and portraiture and even couples. It was good enough for me to be able to build some sort of portfolio that I could show people when people inquired with me about shooting a wedding. Now, on the day of the actual wedding, what I did was I purchased another lens, which was a zoom lens, because I thought that I needed something a little bit longer to perform. I borrowed another lens from a friend in case one of my lenses broke or was damaged, and I had a second body ready in case my first camera body broke down or was damaged, and I had a speed light. I normally don't use flash during the wedding day, only if it's absolutely necessary, and the only times I would even consider pulling it out is during the reception. If the reception has poorly lit conditions and I know that I still want to deliver some great quality photos for my clients, I just use flash. Other than that, the only times I'll use flash is on the dance floor because it's pretty hard to capture movement and still have pretty good quality lighting while people are dancing, because it adds a little bit of the movement and momentum to the photos and gives them a little bit of a flair. Now, as I mentioned, I brought a second body to my first wedding job. I basically borrowed that from a friend who had a equivalent camera. But if you don't know anyone who's willing to lend you a gear that would work for you, then consider hiring gear as you need it. This is also a great way to keep costs down, as you don't need to fork out a lot of cash in advance to buy your own gear. And if you're starting off and you're trialing different gear and different lenses, it's also another great way to be able to do that without committing to something and then regretting it. I basically hired out different gear from different times to use for different projects, for different wedding scenarios, or even for couple sessions. And for me, this was a great way for me to be able to trial different lenses that I wanted to invest into. And also, if there's a newer camera that's on the market that I would consider upgrading to, it was a great way for me to be able to use that and see for myself without making the financial commitment up front. Third thing that you need to consider before photographing your first wedding is under-promise and over-deliver. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people make the mistake of not really setting great expectations with their clients when they're starting off. And this would just cause a wide variety of problems where there might be miscommunications, or the couple might be not as happy with the photos that they've received. And not that all of the blame is on you all the time, and that's because most of the time a great job hasn't been done of setting expectations. My tips are for under-promise and over-delivering is always be realistic with clients who are considering hiring you. Obviously, they should know that you are starting off, that you haven't really photographed a real wedding before, and they should also know that you are learning, and they should know that it might take a little bit longer for you to edit the photos and have them delivered to the clients. Because whether you are being asked as a friend or being offered really low rates to be able to do this job, you are still being entrusted to capture something special for that couple that will only happen once in their lifetime. So definitely set expectations and manage them. And if they don't hire you because of it, that's okay, because you don't need to lie, or you don't need to inflate your skills or pretend to be more confident than you actually are in order to book this job. At the end of the day, all that's doing is serving as a disservice to the clients or the friends or the people that have asked you to photograph their wedding, and you're setting yourself up for failure. Part of the under-promise is to tell yourself that it's okay that you don't have as much experience, or if you have been booked, show that you're really thankful and grateful and excited to be working with a couple, and just be leaning into that more than lingering on how much you don't have experience or what gear that you don't have, or letting the nerves get the best of you. Hopefully, if you set expectations with the quality of work that's going to be delivered to the couple, then all you can do is bring the most amount of enthusiasm and positive experience of having you there as a photographer. That will probably leave a better impression than you having a great gear to work with, or you being really proud of the way that you've edited. Because at the end of the day, if your expectations have been set correctly, then the couple already know what they're going to receive. So be real and be grateful, and just bring a whole lot of enthusiasm and excitement on the day, and don't psych yourself out or downplay your capabilities. The over-delivering aspect will require a little bit of effort on your part. Basically, the reason you want to under-promise is you want to set realistic expectations. This is a time for you to learn and trial, and you might not be able to meet the deadlines that you think is appropriate, and make sure that you are communicating to the couple a deadline that is very comfortable for you, and just even thank them in advance for their patience. And again, just sprinkle enthusiasm and excitement for them to say, hey, I'm really excited for you guys to be able to see this. Thanks for your patience, and you'll have your photos in XYZ amount of time. And then what you can do is work your ass off so that you can deliver them before the actual deadline that's been set. Basically, what this does is it creates that extra amount of excitement for the couple, and it enhances their experience of having you as a photographer or a business that they're working with. It's basically like when you order a package and you are excited for it and you are checking it and tracking it, and then you end up getting it a day earlier. That level of excitement, that little moment of joy that you feel, will enhance the experience of that product. And this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that you are over-delivering, so that even though you are young and you are new to this, people's experience of having you as a photographer is very positive and exciting. And if they're excited and it's very positive, they're more likely going to recommend you to other people and highly promote you, because the experience that's attached to having you along for the ride has been very positive and exciting. Another thing you can do in terms of over-delivering is making sure that you squeeze in a couple more shoots or sessions with a couple, or maybe you get to attend a workshop or get to go along to a wedding ride along, and basically the expectations that you've set with the couple and the work that they've seen prior to hiring you has developed and gotten better. This is another excellent way to surprise your couples because obviously they know what they're going to be getting, and if they get something that's slightly better, then it's going to be a cherry on top. Again, it's going to increase the excitement of having you along for the day, and they would be even more proud to be able to share their images and talk about you to their friends who will potentially inquire with you in the future. So make sure when you get your job booked, try and squeeze in some sessions that are free with your friends, attend a workshop, make sure you learn as much as possible, make sure you trial editing to make sure that that is spot on, watch YouTube videos and tutorials, book in mentor sessions, whatever it requires for you to be able to keep growing so that you can over deliver and exceed expectations is going to help you start off really well. So to summarize the 3 things of what you need to consider before shooting your very first wedding is prior experience, and make sure you have something in your portfolio to show, have competent gear, and make sure you have backup gear. If you don't have one that you can borrow from a friend or a colleague, make sure to hire some. And lastly, under promise and over deliver. Be realistic, set realistic expectations, manage them, and help the couple understand exactly what they're in for and what they'll be getting, and put in as much effort as you can to make sure that you exceed those expectations so that their experience of having you is positive and they'll be able to talk about it fondly to their friends, which means there is so much more potential for you to have more referrals in the future, and then it's just going to be weddings for days. Hey, if you like this video, make sure you click the like button. It would really help, and as I said at the beginning, it would really mean a lot if you would subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be bringing you more contents like this in the future, and I would love to grow with you, and I would love to share any amount of experience that I've had as a photographer in order to help you grow and become the best photographer that you can be. And also, if you have any thoughts or experiences of your own of starting off and shooting your first wedding, comment and share with everyone below because we're all in it together and we're all learning. And if there's any particular content or a topic that you want me to cover or a video that you want me to make, be sure to comment below and just let me know. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys soon.